Good day for everyone, and in particular to Muammer Calik, professor from Trabzon University in Turkey. Sorry, I'm not going to pronounce because pronunciation of your new form of country name is a little bit different. We are trying to learn somehow. It's another format introduced possibly 2 years ago, if I know well. And colleague Muammer is professor of chemistry education, mainly in chemistry education area, and he has a wide range of research interests, including different topics like socio-scientific issues and different evaluation of science textbooks, science education, obviously, and chemistry education in particular, and obviously teaching and learning technology in education or educational technology, teaching materials, etc. It's difficult to say everything, yeah. But anyway, he is really smart scholar, smart researcher, and good friend. And please, Muammer, you can start your presentation. Our interest is to be familiar with education system in your country, some latest, let's say, current situation, some challenges, possible some insights for the future. And our main also interest is innovations in education, possible different levels, and technology in education or technologies for education. And just in first part of lecture, students started to present, to introduce some platforms, online platforms related at some extent to educational activities like Copilot, Duolingo, Open eClass, etc. And we will continue tomorrow and in some other days, because this is individual work, and we want to get as wide as possible some panorama, and to be at least familiar with some technological approaches. Okay, if you possible, you can also add some information, some introductory information about you. It would be nice.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for your good introduction, me, because we are really very good friends with Vincentas and knows with each other for a long time. I'm sorry for my voice because my little son was ill and then infected me with the cold, and then it's like every version of maybe the COVID-19, that is really very common in Turkey again because of the weather. I have been working on chemistry education, and I held all my degrees in Karadeniz Technical University, but a few years ago we divided into a different university and now named it Trabzon University, but my research interest is principally focused on conceptual change, conceptual learning, and assessment, students' conceptions and learning, and also integration of technology into science classes. As well as mentioned in Vincentas, I have been working on the nature of science and socio-scientific issues nowadays. My last papers generally related about nowadays is about the meta-analysis and systematic reviews. I have been trying to get some insights about future research and future researches about the unexplored issues. Now I will make a presentation about the Turkish educational system firstly, and then I will give some information again, education and technologies in education into the Turkish context, and then I will share some dilemmas and challenges in our education system in my presentation. First, let me share the documents with you, but I think Vincentas, you should make me the presenter, and then I can share the documents.
I think it's possible or not. Possible not. Just a minute.
Because it's not active in my screen.
It should be good now.
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah, that as mentioned in my the beginning speak, I will explain about this. If you have any inquiry, you can directly ask me, or also you can send an email to me via my private email and my university's email, and then I will try to my best for you. I will give some information about about the Turkish educational system, because we generally divided this into the two sides. Vincentas, are you seeing my screen now?
Oh, yes, it is seen, but you can switch to a full mode.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, we divided Turkish education systems into formal education and non-formal education, like other countries. The formal education includes K-12 level, the first level preschool, and we have a large school, that for 40,000 schools, catering for about 1.2 million children with approximately 120,000 teachers. And another point is that primary school is 4 years and starts from 6-year-old to 10 years old. And the number of the schools is about 25,000 and catering for about 5.6 million children with approximately 300,000 teachers. And another for cycle is belonging to middle school, and it starts with 10 years to 14 years. And the number of the schools 19,000 and catering for about 5.3 million children with approximately 400,000 teachers. It's really very huge number for the schools and teachers. And another for year is belonging to high school, and it starts from 14 to 18-year-old, and the number of those schools is about 30,000, and the number of the students is about 6.3 million, and approximately 400,000 teachers. And another points is in the formal education is higher education, and it covers the 18-year-old and above, and we have over 200 universities, and almost half of them is state and half of them in the private, and we have 3.7 million students in the universities.
Excuse me, Muammer, if possible, how many universities you mentioned? It's so interesting.
How many?
How many universities currently? Because I know your country has a lot of universities.
Yeah, we have a lot of universities now. 235. Yeah, it's really very high. it's getting higher. Even though the number of has been increasing day by day, but that the quality is not the same for most of the universities. Yeah. But the number is getting higher. And as you will see, we have 124 states and 115 private universities. Also, the number of the faculties is very high, because it's about 100 faculty of education in Turkey. It's really very high again, and 100 faculty of education means that we graduate much more teachers, and we try to educate much more teachers that exist the capacity of the appointed in the state and private sectors. It's a really challenge for us. And another point is also non-formal education. We have about 21,000 institutions, and including vocational training center, girls major technical institute, public training center, and etc. And it's about the number of departments is also again too much, and then it's about 17.5 million persons, and we had teachers in these institutions about over 100,000 teachers.
Muammer, if possible, again, because we will miss later on. What does it mean, Girls Mature Technical Institute? What is?
Girls Mature Technical Institute is a non-formal education, and that it's not compulsory, but some people would like to learn some different jobs and job alternatives and some things like that. They go to these places and learn some professions. For example, that cooking, seeding, and some things like that. They learn on needling. They learn and they go to the private sector or marketing sector if they want. They can suggest such things, and we call it this Girls Mature Technical Status. Also, this one, some technical positions are open for girls, and they are encouraged to work in the private sector. They go there and then they train, and then they jump into the private sector and earn their money. And this like this, they educate and work in the private sector together. And I would like to give some information about the international exam scores, because Turkey, that is also Lithuania, generally interested in PISA and teams scores. The Turkish positions is about 36 for reading and 39 for math and 34 science over 81 countries in the PISA, and then it's also lower than the OECD average. But we have been trying to that increasing this levels and ascending our positions every year. I hope we will get good positions in the future. And like this in the teams, 23rd over 58 countries in the teams for maths for grade, and 20 over again 38 countries in the teams for maths 8th grade, and 19 over 58 countries in the teams, and 15 over 38 countries in the teams for science 8th grade. Our science scores seems to be better than the math scores for as compared with the other courses. Preschool education in Turkey is optional and generally covers 36 to 66 months children, and it aims to develop children's physical, mental, and emotional competencies and habits, and create a social interactive learning environment for disadvantaged children, most of whom cannot speak Turkish and has low socioeconomic background. Compulsory education takes a 12-year period, and it starts 6-year-old and 18-year-old. Is also compulsory education as free at all state schools. Primary and secondary education aims to
Muammer, can you change slides? Possible slides not moving. Okay.
Yeah. I have changed it, but I think that there's some problems in internet.
Oh, you should go on full mode, show format on below. Yeah. You can see icon. It will be better, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay now, Vincentas?
Now primary and secondary education slide. It's
yes. The aims of primary secondary education are to give students with necessary knowledge, skills, behaviors, and habits that result in good citizenship, and improve national moral values and globalized ethics rules, and prepare them for future life and the next educational level. And high school, in Turkey we call it this lycée, aims to increase students' general culture and awareness of scientific, social, economic, and environmental issues, and prepare them for higher education, life, and vocational quiz in accordance with their interests and talents through various programs. And in our higher education and in undergraduate education is also train students to, according to national and international scientific policies and the needs for labor market, and foster students to do scientific research by creating an academic scientific culture and inform the society about the research results on national and international problems. In non-formal education, as asked by Vincentas, aims to teach adults how to read and write, because some people, even though are illiterate and that they cannot read and write, if they would like to learn and become literate, they go to this non-formal education and learn read and writing. Except for especially for the elder people, generally prefer this one, and create new and opportunities for improving their standards of living, for example, sometimes life and sometimes jobs, and engage people in various professions with the necessary information and skills for further development, and establish the habits of spending and using spare time productively. Even though they want to become...
Muammer, again, please go with slides, because slides stopped at primary level.
I have been progressing, but I think that it's not progressing in the internet, I think. Let me share the documents again. Let me share this again. It's okay, Vincentas?
Obviously, but now it's full mode. Let's hope it will be better, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you will see some pictures from these non-formal education activities. You will see some needling and painting, some computer skills at the right hand of the bottom, and another you will see some activities like this, some that handmade products you will see, and painting and like this. It's really very fascinating for people who would like to learn new activities, new opportunities, and spare them time very actively. They will go to the non-formal education and spend and communicate with each other people. And I will give you a brief schema about our education system. You will see that primary and secondary school is compulsory, and they goes to the high school. Grade 9 is common for all high school level, and it includes several courses. And then students are directed to, for example, the high school or vocational high school. And then after the grade 10, they select some streams, for example, science and math. And another point, Turkish studies and the social studies and something like that. And then some people prefer English language, and then they select some, streams, and then they follow these courses in grade 11 and grade 12. After they graduated from high school, we have a nationwide exam, and then if they pass this exam, they will go to the higher education. And if their scores is enough to apply for positions, they are selected and placed in different universities. And it is also a top-down model, and it is a centralized style. This means that you cannot directly apply for a university. You can select a list of the universities, and then if your scores is enough, and then the higher education council directly nominated you to these universities and your selected areas. For the vocational schools, you will see that it's really very highly vocational and technical dimension, and the high collaboration with labor marketing, and that they can work over there after the graduation of the schools. If they graduate and they would like to go to the university, they can easily go to the also higher education, for their areas if they would like, but they generally prefer to go to the labor marketing and works there. Now I'd like to give some information about the technologies in education, because we have a new science curricula released this year, and this science curriculum has emphasized the use of immersive reality, visual and augmented reality, and also proposed to make students aware of digital competencies and enable them to effectively use related technologies. We used the Turkish century because you know that after the Türkiye was founded, it took about a century. For the system, we used the next century. The second century is Turkish century, and it includes several dimensions. Generally includes some values, students' profile, skills, and as a whole, the newly released science curriculum follow these models and says that we should try to educate better students with well-rounded and versatile and with higher moral values. And the new science curriculum brings the focus on this one. Also, it also includes digital competencies and immersive reality and the use of technologies in education and science classes. Now you will see that some pictures about the smart sport, because in early of the I think 2012 we call it a project, and this is long name is Moment of Enhancing Opportunities and Improvement Technology Project. It's a nationwide project, and as a result of these projects, all of the schools and classes has been furnished with technological tools and facilities, smart sport, internet, tablet, and the relevant software like this. And all those schools and each class is also included these technologies in our schools. But you know that whenever you furnish such technologies, teachers need to use these technologies in their classes. If they want to use these technologies in their classes, it's really very difficult. For this reason, the needs of the technologies, given these issues, the Ministry of National Education decided to make some in-service educations and some in-service courses for the promote the teachers to use these technologies in their classes. And one of the points is that an increase in the mission and function of Directorate of Innovation and Education and Technologies under the Ministry of National Education and Education of the Republic of Turkey, and then this mission and function are really very increased to meet these needs and to stimulate teachers' interest in using the technologies in their classes. And also, given these furnished classes and furnished schools, the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, we call it this TÜBİTAK, calls for new research and collaboration, and ask the researchers to conduct some activities and submit projects to increase the use of the technologies in classes and provide some documents or softwares for the use of the teachers. And TÜBİTAK has also opened a new project to support innovative technologies, digital competencies, tech and 21st century skills. Given the need of the in-service and pre-service educations for the use of technologies in the learning process, the Ministry of National Education make a collaboration with Faculty of Education and universities, and they conducted the several in-service courses about tech and technologies in the use of the classes. And Also, in this process, because the number of the teachers is really very high in Turkey, they generally educated master or formator teachers that will teach these contemporary issues to their colleagues in the schools. For example, I teach my classes, that these teachers comes to my class, and then I give some lectures about the use of technologies in their classes, give some examples, and then they learn these activities and how to integrate these technologies in their classes. They return to their schools and they explain their gained knowledge and skills to their colleagues. And it is said, that a chained learning system is in these activities in service education. And also, there are some courses added into teacher education, teacher preparation programs, because after graduation, they will use these technologies. Before graduating from the pre-service education, they need to learn these technologies and how to integrate these technologies into their classes. We added some related some technological courses, and they can directly use these technologies in these classes and gain some experiences. I'd like to show some new websites and programs that triggers, especially for the distance education programs, for the use of technologies in education, and some also websites launched by the Ministry of National Education, because the teachers needs to give some concrete examples and how to integrate these technologies into their classes. And then, for example, they use education information network. If teachers make a good practice, they can easily also upload their practices into this platform, and then the other teachers can easily see, and then maybe try to improve or integrate these activities in their classes. It's a well-known website for education information network. For in-service education, as mentioned in my previous slides, unfortunately, the number of teachers is very high in Turkey, and we have no chance to make face-to-face in-service education for all of them. For the season, the government decided to release a website for teachers and principals professional development, and they can easily access some, some in-service, online in-service education, and then they can easily follow and attend these activities and to learn how to integrate these technologies in their classes. Now, I'd like to give some examples for these online in-service education activities. The first is related about the use of Web2 tools in schools. You will see it explains the Web2 tools, and then give some examples how to prepare Web2 tools and use in their classes. And it's also free of charge and provided and supplied by the Ministry of National Education. And another point, blended learning in primary school is like this, and then online in-service education, and teachers or principals easily access these documents, and then they can follow this in-service education. And when they complete it, they will get also a certificate provided by the Ministry of National Education. And another example is Python and microbyte applications, and that they can also learn how to use educational robotics in their classes. And another example is the use of Simullearn platform, and then they can easily access this one. You will see it has started at 8th of December in 2023, the last year, and it has still been continuing, and then you will see the duration is about 10 class hours. And another example is about the STEM education and STEM applications. It's quite popular in Turkey, as mentioned in the other countries. For instance, the Ministry of National Education also paid more attention to the STEM education and STEM application in our classes. Another point, online service education is about the designing innovative learning environments, and they can learn how to design innovative learning environment and improve their learning qualities and learning capabilities. And another example is about mobile application via App Inventor. They can easily access this, and its times is about 25, and they can follow these activities and the courses, and then they can learn how to use App Inventor to use in their classes. Now, I'd like to give some information about dilemmas and challenge, because even though we have attempted several times to improve the quality of our educations, and it's also dependent on the quality of teachers and their adaptation to the new technologies and new science curricula or any kind of curricula. But we have some difficulties about these issues. Now, I'd like to give some information about the dilemmas and challenges in Turkey. The first thing is related about the role of policymakers on teacher education and educational system, because unfortunately policymakers generally decide populist decisions. For example, pedagogical formation certificate for all undergraduate students, and this year the Ministry of National Education decided to found a National Education Academy, which will train all graduate students for a 2-year period. After holding undergraduate level, they will go to the National Education Academy. It's compulsory if they would like to appoint in the state schools. They must follow these courses, and this increases the duration of becoming teachers. For example, it's about 6 years. 6 years period. It's too long. For the season, some of the students unfortunately decided to leave the teacher education programs. For example, some for my university, the Department of Science Education is really very popular, and also we have very good professors and educators. But this year we have only 2 students for undergraduate level, because given this decision, they have decided to select other professions. For example, some engineering departments or some medical departments. They can easily divert their interest into the other issues. This is really a great challenge for us, because this means that with this decision will surpass the Faculty of Education, and this will be increased another dimension for the teacher educations. And another point, as mentioned, and in Vincentas, you know the numbers of the universities, because when we talked about 2 years or 3 years ago, the university's levels is about almost 200, but now we have 235 universities, and it has been increasing day by day. But at a fast increase in the number of the universities has resulted in a decrease in the quality of manpower, unfortunately. And also we have an imbalance between supply and demand. For instance, labor market needs more technicians, masters, foremen, and etc. But we educate more engineers. We have much more engineers, but we have little technicians, masters, and foremen. We have some, the supply and demand imbalance in our universities and our faculties. Similarly, the number of the teachers who have been awaiting for being appointed to the state schools exceeds capacity of Planet One, because we have almost 100 faculty of educations, teacher education programs, except for the pedagogical formation, because the government decided to suggest all undergraduate students to attend pedagogical formation certification without any restriction. For example, if you enter in engineering programs, and then they can also would like to have pedagogical formation certificate. And another point, for example, if they go to the nursing, and then they get pedagogical formation certificate, and a faculty of science, that they would like to get pedagogical formation certificate to become a teacher. In fact, in Turkey, generally, we have a central criterion to apply or select for teacher education programs. But these universities and these provisions, for example, Faculty of Science and Arts, and Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Nursing and something like that, or Faculty of Business, they do not have a certain criteria. And then they goes to the students with lower scores goes these faculties, and then they try to become a teacher. And then they said that if they get pedagogical formation certificate, and then they will earn and be appointed in this schools, they look for like this. But this is not enough, because the quality of teachers has been going down day by day, unfortunately, because of these decisions. Also, parents' expectation from their children is another dilemma, because when I asked my colleagues and my friends, they said that your students do not want to go to the university and have little capabilities to educate in the universities. Why do not think to go to the vocational technical high school? But parents generally reject this. And then they say that they must go to the university and they can get a diploma. And after the graduation, he or she should get an easy job with higher salary. But it's, that is impossible in the current case, because the number of universities has been increasing, and the number of the graduated persons increasing day by day. For this reason, is sometimes that the private sector and also public sector generally looks for the best ones, not the lower or average people in our country. And we have a centralized Turkish education system and also top-down model. Also, the main dilemmas, I think, we have frequent change in the curriculum, because when a Minister of National Education change, unfortunately, they first try to change the curriculum. But it's only one dimension of the educational system. They generally think that if they change the curriculum, and then everything will be very better. But it's impossible. We should focus on the facilities, infrastructure, and the quality of the teachers. And curriculum is only one of the dimensions of our educational systems. Even though they do not prefer to revise the curriculum, they generally say that, yes, we deleted the earliest, and then we created a new one, which is the best for their views. But it's not the best, unfortunately. For the system, we have several curriculum change very frequently, because the Minister of National Education changed, and then our curriculum is also changed. Also, teachers' bias about updated curricula and resistance to adapt it into their classes, because they generally think that this curriculum will change soon, because a ministry change, it will be changed. They generally think that they do not need to adapt these newly realized curriculum into their classes, and they generally follow their earlier experiences and their gained experiences without thinking the curriculum. And also another point is that about because of the number of the teachers, we generally suggest limited in-service education, but then newly the government has decided to suggest online in-service education programs to access much teachers and increase their knowledge, skills, and abilities to integrate in new technologies and innovative technologies into their classes. And another point is also for, as I experienced, my elder son, even when he was in the grade 9, unfortunately, we suggested much more courses, 12 different courses. And then they really was very upset at that. Well, why do we need much more courses? But grade 9 is very common, and try to give some information about the students about their future careers. But it's really very high number of the courses. Sometimes make them very upset and discourage them to continue to higher education level. And also we have the nation summative examination for the high school entrance examination at grade 8 and university entrance examination grade 12, and which are used to enroll the elite or high quality schools of universities. We have a really competitive environment. This means that whatever the ministry and the curricula suggest to innovative technologies and the use of the technologies in the science classes, unfortunately, in grade 8 and 12, they generally focused on these courses. And then they just only solve the problems and the test and multiple choice questions. They do not pay more attention to the design curriculum and the technologies in these activities. And also the need for more schools to reduce the crowded classroom in the metropolitan cities on downtown, because we have a young generation. The number of the young generation has been increasing, but the number of the schools, unfortunately, slowly increased. For the system, we have crowded classrooms, and this also prevent the use of the technologies in classrooms. And because the teachers sometimes complains about the class management problems, or system, they prefer to use their earlier experience instead of the use of the technologies in their classes. Yeah. Vincentas, I hope it's clear, because my voice is very bad, but sometimes I have problems. If you have a question, I'd like to do my best for you.
Yeah, thanks, Muammer. Never mind. It's life. It's our regular life. We have different situations and different, let's say, small or bigger problems every day. Okay, I think we put 2 questions in chat. If possible, you can see 2 questions. Possible students will write something more. First question, do you see some questions in chat?
Yes. The Center of Turkish Education Model means, you know that Turkey was founded in 1923, and the Republic of Turkey now was one century year old. For the season, we call it this Turkish education model, the Turkish century this season, and it includes some dimensions, you know, that values, skills, and abilities, and attitudes and beliefs. It includes, and that these models generally focus on that. Yeah, the whole person and well-rounded person try to educate well-rounded persons. We call it this curriculum. Unfortunately, we do not have teachers shortage, also because we have graduated to too much teachers. We do not need teachers shortage, but we do not have an opinion, you know, that in this process, unfortunately, because we increased the numbers of the universities and the capacity of the undergraduate programs, But nowadays, most of our graduated students are unemployed. Unfortunately, they do other provisions and some things. But we have a dilemma between the private and state schools. They can work in private sectors, but their salary is very low. The state schools suggest a good salary for the teachers, but the private sector generally suggests little salary, and students do not prefer to work in the private sector. Otherwise, if they'd like to go, and then they can work in the private sector, but we do not need, that of the numbers of our graduate students exceeds the number of the capacities of the appointed in the state schools. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Just before some more questions, in relation to this new curricula, I found the information that this curricula is going to introduce just this academic year, in 24-25 academic year, and just starting from kindergarten to 5th grade, right?
Yes. Kindergarten, grade 1, grade 5, and grade 9.
Not interval, just in some.
Yeah, they gradually started, and the next year it will gradually go to the new curriculum. Yeah, the first one, grade 1, grade 5, and grade 9, but all curriculum was planned and realized. But the Minister of National Education said that it will start the lower level, grade 1, grade 5, and grade 9. And then the next year it will be applied for all levels.
Okay, yeah. This, as we're discussing in the context of some innovations, it's like continuous changes.
Yeah. But for example, I would like to confess that most of the Ministry of National Education are not teacher educators in Turkey. They generally come from different professions. For example, the current Minister of National Education comes from public administration, not teacher educators. But they have decided their things for our education and curriculum and our all activities.
It's it's again nothing generally nothing new, because some other countries, including Lithuania, also experiencing from time to time different personalities who are not really connected with education or relatively so far from education.
Yeah, relatively so far. They just only know some educational issues given their experience with children, for example, and maybe parents and some things like they because of their roles.
Okay, Muammer, I see some more questions from students. Please check.
Yeah, I'm saying, what do you think about artificial intelligence implementation in education? What is the situation in your country? We can use the artificial intelligence, but we have not decided yet because the government and the Minister of National Education has not suggested how to integrate artificial intelligence in education. Also, we do not have a pre-service courses in our faculties about the artificial intelligence. But you know that maybe we need much more evidence-based results about artificial intelligence and how to adapt artificial intelligence in our education. For instance, we do not have such a case, but some colleagues from the Department of Computer and Instruction Technologies, they have been focused on these issues, how to integrate artificial intelligence in our education system. But we have not tried yet. But for my courses, I sometimes use artificial intelligence. For example, for a literature review, I suggest my students that if you'd like to get a general literature review, you can write Seaside, for example, and give your keywords, and then say that please find these related papers for me using these keywords, and these artificial intelligence easily access these papers for you. But it's not how we do not that have a clear interest and idea about how to integrate artificial intelligence in schools, especially for K-12 students.
And one question before, it was about technology. In your opinion, what is the best tool in technology? What would you recommend to the teacher as the best tool or best instrument?
Oh, the best instrument.
Difficult question.
It's really a hard question because that it's dependent on the nature of your classes and courses. For example, I sometimes use for animation and simulation for my courses, for example. But if I would like to suggest some, that the particular nature of matter, for example, at submicroscopic level, I use animation and simulation and technologies and like this, and similar, for example. But I think it's really dependent on the nature of your courses. And sometimes I use for YouTube and some activities easily access, and students really very keen on doing this. But it's really dependent on the nature of your courses, and we should decide it given the nature of our courses and the goals of our courses. Maybe sometimes our also facilities of our classes and the schools.
Next question.
Yes, being in Turkey, it's great to see male teachers in child education. What do you think we need to change to have male teachers in kindergarten? Yeah, it's a good question, but we do not have too much male teachers in kindergarten. But especially for early child education, is really very popular in Turkey because they can easily be appointed in the state schools and also private sectors. For this reason, sometimes male teachers also prefer this one. But they have really have good empathy with children, and some of them interest in the teachers, so students and children, they generally prefer this one. But I do not think that we need to change to have male teachers. Maybe in this case, I do not have any clear answer about this question. I'm sorry that.
Okay. And currently no more questions possible. One question from my side. You mentioned, I hope that everybody of us imagine at least Turkey, it's a relatively big country, right? And based on territory and also having in mind population size. But do you feel or are some differences possible, some differences in student achievement based on region, on location?
Yes, because if they generally, the developed regions and with high facilities, their achievement is really very high. But in eastern part or maybe southeastern part, they generally achievement is very low. Because, for example, if they generally goes to the young teachers goes to these parts, after 1 or 2 years later, they return to and appointed to the other parts of the countries. This sometimes occurs the frequent change of the teachers, and this reduces the achievements of the students in these schools. Now, for instance, we have different 7 regions, and then we have different, that achievements level. For example, the Central Anatolia and the Muammer region and Aegean generally have high achiever students in these regions. But the other parts sometimes have low achiever students in our countries.
Mm-hmm. And in continuation, having in mind the teacher's salary, let's say, I'm not asking directly in amount, but is it differ, for example, again, based on region, for example, if he or she works somewhere, let's say in western part or in eastern part and somewhere in the middle?
No, it's the same all of the Turkey.
Okay.
It's all of the same.
And you mentioned that in your country, let's say school classes relatively so big or large. what would be average, let's say? How many students in generally?
For my class, then I think it is the average about the metropolitan cities is very high. It's about 40, I think. It's about 40, and it is really very crowded classrooms because some people prefer to move to metropolitan cities to find proper jobs, and then they go there, and the population will be very high. For instance, the number of the classes is very crowded and very high. But the number of the class is very low in the rural area and the villages. And when I asked some administrators, say that the number is very high in the city center, and the number is very low in the other parts. Again, I said that the average number of the classes is very reasonable because they collect all data, but not new for the metropolitan cities.
Maybe you can gain relatively good experience from neighbor country to reduce, let's say, school years, this interval, learning interval. Why to be so long in school, 12 years, for example? Possibly it's enough.
Nowadays, some educators says yes, we really need a 12-year period. Now we have been several debates about this period, and then they sometimes says that if as students do not continue to higher education, and maybe they would like to go to the vocational and technical schools and maybe professions, because we need this one. For example, we have much more engineers, but we do not have technicians. And then they said that there is not enough technicians in the industry because of a 12-year period. And then nowadays there are really current debates about the increased number of 12-year, and then they generally say that we should reduce this one, and we should give up, for example, K-12 maybe is enough, or K-10 maybe is enough, and then students can go to the job markets and learn their own professions and continue in the labor marketing.
And possible my last question, what about master degree? Is it obligatory or mandatory to have master degree for teacher working in school, or is it enough to have a bachelor degree?
Bachelor degree is enough, and the master and PhD degree is not compulsory for the teachers. But the government generally says that if they would like to continue masters or PhD courses, they will have some, some promotion and some perks. For example, the Minister of National Education has suggested 3 levels of the teachers: the teachers, master teachers, and we say that chief teachers. And if they have PhD degrees, they have directly goes to the chief teachers if they have enough experiences. If they have master degrees, they will become master teachers, but they should work at least 9 or 10 years, and they will go to another nationwide exam. But if they have master degrees, and there is no need to apply and take an exam, a nationwide exam, they directly go to the master teachers. If they completed the PhD degrees, and then they will become chief teachers, and the chief teacher's salary is very high if they have PhD degrees and become an experienced teachers. And then it's also almost the salary of the teachers is almost equivalent to maybe young professors. So the government suggests this one.
Thank you very much. If students have some more questions, please, if not, we will finalize our short discussion. Possible not, I do not see any more questions in chat. Thank Thank you very much, Muammer, for your time, for your ideas and for information. I hope that we gained some, at least panoramic view in relation to education system in your country, and some, in particular, some interesting elements as related to teachers' work, to teachers' position, and etc. But I'm really surprised, at least mostly with number of universities. Lithuania is going to close or continuously trying to reduce number of universities. But in your country, I see that the number of universities is growing so rapidly. It's
you know that it's a political decision.
well, it's why not? It's let's say normal trend to make higher education massive, really massive education for everybody.
Yeah, I know that.
But it's not about quality, obviously, not about quality.
Yeah.
Okay, keep well, keep safe, and possible we will meet somewhere, sometime in the near future. At least I hope next year during our Baltic Sea Symposium in Šiauliai.
Yeah.
At least.
I'd like to thank you for your kind invitation, because you know that when you invited me, well, whatever I'm, you know, that have a limited time, I'm trying to do my best, because you are really one of my best friends, and also communicate with each other very easily. For this reason, I will try to my best. Next year, I hope we will meet you and the face again and share good times and spend good times with you.
Okay. Thanks once again, and bye for now.